No one says no to Tehran the Don.
I just don't like being stood up in general. I don't think anyone likes being stood up. Like, it's a thing. You're right. I've never been stood up.
Yeah, I've never seen it. In our 15 plus years of friendship, I've never seen you get stood up.
Yeah, that's it. I feel some type of way. I'm not going to lie. I feel some type of way. And what makes it worse is I just went on their Instagram.
And they're popping right now.
No, they're just at Runyon right now.
They're hiking.
They're literally at Runyon.
Our guests are hiking while we did our due diligence. We showed up to radio. We prepared a lovely show for them.
Amazing.
And they're hiking.
Hiking. And here we are today going to talk about the Oscars, Frances McDormand, Tiffany Haddish.
Can we put a little more excitement into it? At this point, you're just like shouting out.
I don't even want to.
Sounds like what
even our topic isn't really going to be my.
Is it a bigger issue? Is it that without female energy, we're nothing? Female energy drives us?
No, I really just don't like being stood up.
Okay.
It's a thing. I'm not. Some people get upset
because I've been told that I have a lot of female energy.
You do. I was expecting to have guests and to discuss things specifically with them because our topic today was, when are you ready to have a baby? and as two guys, I just don't feel this loses the purpose of our show.
Of the show.
The show is, hey, we're the two guys listening to women and actually listening to them and want to know how we can be better gentlemen.
Well, how about I turn up my female energy today?
Please don't.
And we could have a discussion.
Please
viewing
don't.
both sides.
I actually don't want to talk to you at all today. Actually,
yeah, you were. You were very mean when you came in. Usually, I get like a little fist bump.
No, you instigated.
I instigated. I instigated with the producer Martin. Tehran's mad at me. Martin's unaffected, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Martin is behind the scenes, and it's just you instigated with Martin.
I did,
and then you. This is why Chaco doesn't listen to you.
Oh my God, you're going to take it there?
I did. I took it there.
You know what? He does listen to me because this week, Chaco graduated.
No, he didn't.
He graduated, Tehran. I know it hurts to hear.
That's not what really happened.
Chaco.
He went to this class 3 times, George, and failed every time. And they finally were just like, here.
No. All right, look.
Leave.
He did do the required examination. He did the actions. He got through it.
Okay.
It might have taken him a while.
Sure.
You know?
The last thing you posted about Chaco was him leading you with his leash. Hustling through. Like, at that point, he just doesn't give a fuck about what you're telling him.
I believe that Chaco and I have a very special connection. He does care. And what's interesting is I've seen the connection, the intergalactic connection between you and Chaco. The stars have aligned for your two souls.
No, Chaco's just afraid of me, as he should be, and so he listens when I speak.
Because does that
he
make
knows
me
a bad parent?
No, like
yes.
a B word?
A bad parent.
Yeah, that B word. Okay.
Bitch? Is that what you meant?
That's what you said.
That's what you meant. I didn't say anything.
That's hurtful. Why would you say that about your best friend?
Anything.
Wow,
well,
he's really mad about this
but
instigation.
I am the impeccable, impenetrable Tehran Von Gossery, alongside
Mr. George Corey, the ambassador of positive energy and refinement. And I only transformed into Mr. George Corey today because I think we need all the positive energy that we could possibly get on this show.
I prefer GK Supreme. I prefer
sure
GK.
You do. Sure you do.
I prefer GK Supreme. So
don't bring the savage out. Knock 3 times, the savage comes out.
Listen, I'm knocking. I'm knocking and knocking and knocking.
Are you just like, at this point, just not even doing the show? You're just checking messages?
I'm actually, look, today's Tuesday, March 6th, blah, blah, blah.
I'm supposed to say the date.
Yeah,
you
we
know
are Imperfect Gentlemen, the show which we listen and exchange ideas with women on our quest to become better men. Yeah.
Maybe we get some live stream action. Maybe we get some, hey, our lady listeners, because our guest stood us up on radio today, we would like your input on the topics. And you know what? My cousin, Henna, is watching, and she has many children, so she could tell us when the right time to have a baby
she has
is.
Amazing things to say. Here's the thing.
We need all support we could get, y'all.
So we're not going to talk to the guests. There are no guests. Either or questions. Nothing to ask them.
Nothing to ask them. Maybe.
No.
We're hurting today. We're hurting, y'all.
It's not hurting. Listen, we need to discuss.
No, you're hurt.
This happens, and girls deal with it all the time. If you say you're going to text. That's the concept. How many times have we heard this? If a guy says he's going to text, why not text?
Yeah.
That's what. And as girls aren't as used to rejection as guys. Guys get rejected all the time because they throw it out there all the time. They throw things at the wall and hope it sticks.
Is it because they throw it out there more, or society tells us that it's our duty to do the hollering? Because most of my friends who are ladies say that they usually wait for the guy to approach them. Sure. They don't approach the guy. There
is a hunting dynamic to the way men approach it. Sure, it's very similar in the fact that we see a female, we walk up to her, we approach her in a manner that's should be becoming of interaction. We have a game plan, so to speak, or at least the beginnings of one, even though most of the time that game plan sucks.
Yeah.
A lot of times we kind of innocuously walk up, so we come up we don't go storming up hey, I think you're attractive. We have to have some finesse and tact.
I like that you said
camouflage.
That. Camouflage. Today has been so disastrous that I'm just going to share my deepest, darkest secrets. I one time went to holler without a plan. The lady looked back at me and she said, you were so hot until you opened your mouth.
Wow.
And that was the worst type of rejection I've ever experienced, because it was
that's pretty bad.
Because the way you look, to some extent, you can't help it. I mean, nowadays there are things you could do, but the way you speak in your game is something that you could develop. And my game was far underdeveloped at that point in my life.
No, definitely that's harsh.
But you know what? I did apply what you taught me, and what Taronda Dawn taught me is, you compliment a lady, or am I giving away too many secrets now?
I don't know what you're about to say, so yes.
The thing
yes, you probably are. But what were you about to say?
I just feel like the energy is really low right now.
No, the energy is there.
Is there even a point? Hey, live stream, is there even a point of us being here?
Listen, the energy is there.
Do you need spirit fingers right now?
Don't touch me.
Okay. So what I was going to say is that what you taught me is, don't only compliment a lady just on her looks. You're beautiful. You're pretty. I mean, she's heard that before, and B, she didn't invent the way her genetic code was constructed for her to look the way she looks. Compliment her on something that maybe she picked out in her outfit, or part of her personality, mannerisms. These are the sort of things that
100%. Something she chose, something she selected. Pay attention to those things. Pay attention to her as a person, not her as a prey. That's why I say hunted, because that looks delicious. Let's hunt. No, pay attention to her as a human being, as a person. Find out some interests. Look at her shoes. Wow, those look like they could be worn in her favorite shoes. Wow, those are very dressy, nice shoes. If you're going to compliment her, make it a sincere. Her eyes, she had nothing to do with her eyes, but her dress, she chose that dress.
I do believe, though, that the eyes are a window to a soul.
Sure. You can say the same thing about pussy. Listen, it doesn't. The concept is, I'm sure eyes are very intimate. They're very intimate and very sensual. However, they are not the end all be all of a compliment. You have such pretty eyes.
Yeah, it's a little flat. But sometimes it's an expression in the eyes that
Sure.
is an energy they are omitting from the internal sphere to the external sphere.
What are my eyes saying right now?
To shut the up.
What are my eyes saying? To our guests who should be here, what are my eyes saying? I'm not over. How do you deal with being stood up? Have you ever been stood up?
Oh, yes. I don't say names on the show. There was a lady named Golku who stood me up. And the thing is, I didn't even want to date this Golku, okay? Tehran likes to get me stood up, okay? Tehran enjoys seeing GK get stood up. So it first happened with Golku, who he said, oh, you know what? I was dating a lady who Tehran didn't approve of. He said, you need to date someone of a higher caliber.
You do.
You need to date Golku. And Golku, I saw as a friend. We had been friends for some time.
Yes.
And I didn't think that there was a romantic vibe between us, but I was open to trying. So we went on the first date, went well. Second date, I blocked out Valentine's Day to take her out to dinner. And when you get a Valentine's reservation, it's very different from just a regular reservation. You have to put a lot of work into it. You got to get in early. You got to think about the time, because usually the earlier times get blocked. In some situations, you even have to put down a credit card to hold the table, whatever.
I wouldn't know.
So I called this Golku.
I've never had to do that at McDonald's.
I told this Golku
Sure.
that I am on the way to get you. She said, yeah, I don't think we should go to dinner. And that's your fault. See how I'm nervously tapping the desk? This is a sign of trauma.
You've been traumatized?
I've been traumatized.
You have PTSD from being...
Yes, from being rejected, because I never thought in a million years that the GK Supreme would get rejected. I did. And then I thought that was the only instance. Okay, it's an anomaly. It's not going to happen again. Then Tehran, the Don in the bathrobe, approaches someone who he knew, who was there with her sister, and says, GK, talk to the sister. This is GK, blah, blah. Tries to set me up. She turns around. She says, I got to go. And she gets in an Uber. I wasn't even trying to holler, bruh. He just set that up. It wasn't even my type. I found out recently, you liar, you lie, that she was married. All along.
Possibly. It's possible. It wasn't a setup. I didn't even say, hey, date her.
The way you presented it. And I got harshly dissed by someone who I wasn't even considering.
Well, life happens, man.
Yeah. So now that you've been in my category of being stood up, has this affected your confidence?
I am upset because it affects the flow of the show.
Yeah.
And that to me is a bigger part, is why not just give the decency and courtesy of a text?
So a better question, have you ever no-showed yourself? Have you ever been on the other side?
Yeah, I no-show all the time.
Okay, so how does it feel?
Never professionally.
How does it feel? Oh, never professionally.
I no-show on
a date? You've no-showed on a date?
I've actually never really been on a lot of dates, but I no-show on people all the time where I just don't feel like going.
So you say, hey, I'm coming.
Actually, specifically, one year, your birthday, I just didn't go.
And that was a vendetta, because I didn't go to your birthday the year before.
It wasn't a vendetta. Your birthday seemed like it would be effort, And sometimes you just don't want to put in effort.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you purposely skipped my birthday?
I saw you on the birthday itself, but I wasn't going to the little party thing
It wasn't a little party. It was a big party in the club.
It was a little party.
It was a big party. I have the photos. If you listeners and you, Tehran, want to go to my Facebook albums and look at my birthday parties, I have them all documented for the same reason.
Party. This one was a little
This was a big party.
It was a little party.
This was a big party. You.
No, because it was a little party.
Look, I'm not going to be upset because you're upset.
It was a little thing. I remember there was a time, there was a party that you set up and then couldn't get in. And that was a time I feel like you should talk about being rejected. Now that's about being rejected.
No, this was the ultimate form of rejection. I had a hookup at a nightclub.
No, what makes it worse was it wasn't even a nightclub. It was a hotel venue. So that should be easier to get in.
A bar? Is that what it was?
I mean, a lounge,
was it?
Maybe?
It was a lounge. It was a lounge. And I arranged for this table. I arranged for this guest list.
Set up everything.
Everyone gets in except for me. And you know what my theory is now? That doorman's girlfriend probably cheated on him with Drake. And
blamed you?
He was attacking
because I remember they didn't even ask me if I was.
No, you just walked in with your stupid
bathroom.
They had
me with my group of people,
and it wasn't even this nice of a bathroom.
Yeah, it was actually when I was wearing horrible bathrobes.
Yeah,
which made it worse.
And you still just walked in,
and then
in a place with a dress code.
And you came with a friend.
Who
you were trying to impress?
Who I was trying to impress,
and only because you wanted to impress. To throw it in her face. It wasn't even like you were trying to talk to her or like her. You wanted to show off to her because she just always talks so much shit.
Yeah, she did.
And I feel like jinxed you.
She jinxed me. And I thought this was my surest shot. I set up this nightclub affair. And I get rejected in front of her. She gets turned around. It was a very rough night.
And that's what I'm saying. Rejection never feels good. In fact, if you ever watch the NBA, if you watch these highlights, sure, someone gets dunked on, sucks. Someone gets crossed up, it sucks. But the worst thing to happen is when they're like, rejected, not in my house. Like, that's like the worst taunting when someone you put up a shot and they just toss it out of bounds. That will always be a highlight. Man. You can dunk and it might be a highlight. You can cross someone up and it might be a highlight. But if someone blocks the shit out of you, it will always be a highlight.
That's so real. And I have a theory that a lot of people never fulfill their life purpose or pursue their dreams simply because of the fear of rejection. They don't want to put themselves out there. They might really love something. They might think they need to do something, and they won't try it.
Well, that's the thing. I've always realized that there are people who say they have dreams. And they're like, I want to do this, I want to do that. But they're never willing to actually take those steps into progressing towards that dream. And maybe it is the fear of rejection. We always just assume it's laziness. But maybe it's not laziness because those same people work 2 jobs.
I know.
They work hard. They just don't work smart. They work a lot, but they don't work towards. And there's a difference between working a lot and working towards something.
You're pretty good at working smart and not hard.
I'm actually it's the only skill that I possibly have is working smart and not hard. If I learned how to work hard, I would be so much ahead. And organized. I need to be more organized.
I'm going to tell you something. You and Will Smith have a lot in common. And I'm going to play a clip that these are going to be my words of the week, which are technically your words of the week and Will Smith's words of the week. And I'm going to combine them and claim them as my own. So I'm GK, and these are my words of the week. Okay, listen to what he said.
To me the other night, hey, Will, I want to be an actor, man. I want to be an actor just like you. Usually people say stuff to me like that. I'm like, yeah, man, you do it. Give them an encouraging word. But I was just sitting here thinking, and it dawned on me, 99% of people that say stuff like that are not willing to do what it takes to make their dreams come true.
Wow.
The Marines have a saying, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
That's real.
That's just real. At the center of bringing any dream into fruition is self-discipline. Something as simple as food and eating. It's not about your body as much as it is about your mind. It's getting command of your mind to be able to choose actions that are in your own best interest.
So I figured, why do the words of the week when I have Will Smith doing them? At that point, you just quit life and let Will Smith do everything.
I completely understand. That's actually a very interesting.
But what he said there is, especially because it's catered towards the acting world and entertainment. I've just met so many people like that. So many people. Hey, man, get me a role. Hey, man, it's for you. Put me on your show at Laugh Factory. Hey, man, how do I do what you do? With ignoring the 10 years of sacrifice, ignoring the fact that I don't have a wife or a child or a home. Okay. Or happiness because I gave it all away. Because it's just the happiness is running all over Runyon right now. That's happiness. I don't have that happiness here in the studio where it should be. And I was willing, for better or for worse, to face rejection, to take those losses, to face my fears. So now I've earned the right not to succeed, but I've earned the right to a path to succeed. Whereas you are trying to jump that path. And guess what? It don't work like that. Unless you're a billionaire.
Unless you're a billionaire, and then you get to have the luxury of saying, just be happy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true. A lot of people are not willing to sacrifice and work towards whatever goal it is that they want. And it's interesting. I never knew Will Smith said that, but I say something very similar all the time. A lot of people, they're like, I want to be a rapper, but I'm okay. What's your SoundCloud? I don't have one. What's your songs you put out? I haven't done it. There's actually one specific person I have in mind who is a young lady who always tells me how she wants to do all these things and then actually doesn't do anything really towards it. I'll give her an opportunity one time and she just waved it off, and it was a huge opportunity. So I realized she wasn't serious, because if she was, she would have showed up. If she was, she would have done it. She would have taken that opportunity. She would have ran with it.
So people who are doing this are saying, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Are they just thinking out loud?
No, they're wishing.
They're wishing.
It's a wish. You wish someone in a limo rolled up, just gave you $1 million and said, you're fabulous at what it is that you do. Practice makes perfect. You have to work at it. There is no such thing as an overnight success. And if there is, they will not last.
Yeah,
they will lose it because they never earned it. You have to earn it.
Longevity does come into play.
It is.
We see, and that's why they have the term, this one-hit wonder. You know, someone gets one song, they're popping, and now a month passes, no other single. 2 months, no other single. 3 months, no album.
They got lucky. They got lucky with
one
the hit.
hot hit, and they didn't work for it, and they're here today, gone tomorrow. And that you can apply it to all facets of life, all industries, and we see it all the time. People who rise to the top fast, they get to that role that they cheated their way to, and just the way the universe works, it knocks them right off of that platform.
Well, we saw that specifically with the Oscars. The Oscars is full of people who've been doing it a long time, and they're the ones who win. Mm-hmm. Now, everyone should be getting equal opportunity to make it, but it should be based on working hard and willingness to work hard. And with this year's Oscars, jumping right into that, how did you watch it?
I did.
Thoughts?
What I liked about this year's Oscars is that there wasn't one person who just came in and swept everything. I felt like there was a good diversity amongst the winners, so it was refreshing to see people actually have a chance. Then some major like industry tycoon come and just sweep it all away, which sometimes that happens rightfully, where there's a movie that was that good and you have to.
Do you have a favorite part of the Oscars?
My favorite part was Tiffany Haddish in that same dress, bro, that she wore on Saturday Night Live. Like when she came out in that dress, it was so real, and I was like, finally, this seemed so small, like it's only about a dress, but the message she was sending was way bigger than that and way beyond that. It was basically,
I keep my word.
Yeah, it was like keep my word, and it was. Oh, that's actually a really good point. I wasn't even going to say. She kept her word. A, integrity. I love that. And B, I thought what she's doing is she's debunking this Hollywood facade. She's the first person on the platform that large who debunked the Hollywood facade.
She said she's just having fun. That's what she said.
That's what she's doing. And as we know, I mean, you introduced me to Tiffany years ago. She's as real and as raw as it gets, and she's bringing that to the screen, and I love it.
Yeah, Tiffany was obviously very good, presented well. It was fun. Tiffany's always fun. Tiffany's like inspirational to me. That's someone I look up to because I'm like, I was there when she had nothing and I saw what happened. Mm-hmm. And I was there when she has everything. She's on top of the world. Good for her. She deserves every ounce of it. I also enjoyed when Get Out won. Jordan Peele looked like he really wanted to. He won, and it meant a lot that he won. He just won an Oscar. Jordan Peele won an Oscar. And it's interesting when it comes to representation, mm-hmm. especially in TV, that's like such a hot topic right now. But I'll tell something that's a very real story is one day when I was going through law school and things were very confusing in my life. I didn't know what my next step was. I was watching Fuse, which is like Canadian MTV.
Okay.
And it was, not everyone had it. I was one of the few people who had it. It was like a test run with this channel. And they had a show called Billy on the Street that I thought was brilliant. It was just a brilliant show. And a lot of people thought it was stupid. And I just saw how brilliant it was. This guy walk around on the street and just interview people and say things. I was like, that's so cool. But Billy was Billy's, this white guy, gay. Mm-hmm. Then right after his show, for the first time, I saw this guy, Mikey Winfield, who's now a good friend of mine, very good comedian.
Mikey Winfield. Where's he from?
I don't know where he's from. He has a fro, and he's got this big smile. We kind of look similar.
Okay.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he's from Chicago or something. I'm not sure, though.
You and I have been told we look similar before.
That is not true. So then I was watching Mikey Winfield, and I watched him do a show, and I was like, wow, if this nigga can do it, I can do it. Like, I really saw him, and I was like, this nigga's on TV? Man, I need to be on TV. And I looked it up, and he was performing at the Laugh Factory that night.
Wow.
And that
no way.
is why I looked into the Laugh Factory and found out everything. I didn't know about the Laugh Factory at all before that.
And this is when you were still in D.C.
I was still very much in D.C.
Because I remember there's a period we were like doing the club thing, and then all of a sudden you were like, oh, I'm flying to L.A.
Every week.
So let me get this straight, because some people think this is a myth. You were literally flying back and forth.
Every single week. Every week. I would get there Monday, go do my Monday night show after I got it, and then fly right back so I could be in class by Tuesday.
And for those of you who aren't aware, that flight from DC to LA is like a 6-hour flight. It's mean, yo.
Sure, but at the time, because Virgin America, and this is when everything meets, Virgin America had just opened kind of, and it was $99 each way. Had it been $150 each way, I might not have been able to afford it. But because it was only $99 each way.
You know, that fee is separating me from my family. You know, that increase in flight.
It is. I'm going home for one day on March 20th for Persian New Year's.
Wow.
And it cost me $540
for one flight.
For one round trip flight.
Whereas it would have cost us at max like $300.
$300, which
max.
Then was still like,
was still high.
Like,
I don't know. I don't want to drop this $300.
That is true. And because I saw someone who looked like me on TV, I felt like I could do it and I could do what he does, and I'm doing what he does. And now we are very good friends. And I'm in a movie with Mikey Winfield.
That is amazing.
That is a true story. We just filmed it 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations,
I did a scene with Mikey Winfield. Like, it keeps going where it all
circled
the universe
back.
Really, whatever you put out comes back.
Wow, that's incredible. I actually tried out for the Billy on the Street. I auditioned, and it was only like 6 people that they brought in. I was one of the 6. It was like a really tough audition, and it turned out Billy on the Street was so good at being Billy on the Street that they just said, never mind to all of us.
I'm sure. I can imagine.
He's so good at it.
Who's better than Billy
Billy on the Street is like if you took Sheldon from Big Bang Theory and just put him on the street. Yeah. He has that like dope approach.
Billy's very strong, but also worked very hard. We see that with the Oscars people. They work very hard. It is not easy. It looks easy.
The significance of Get Out winning. I read... I want to verify this in an article that he is the first African-American screenwriter to win an Oscar.
Word on the street. I mean, there's not a lot of black winners in general. They're just not. So when you look at black winners, you're looking at a very finite group of people. Denzel, Viola, Sidney Poitier, Oprah, and this guy. You know? You're looking at a very small group of people, really.
Wow. I mean, we saw history before our eyes.
Sure. I mean, but it sounds like everything's historic, especially with the twists and tales and this and that.
Well, the point is, like, there's like a young writer out there right now who's now going to
look and say, I can do exactly what Jordan's going to be someone's Mikey Winfield.
Yeah.
And that's a real thing. And it takes a lot of hours, and he put in a lot of work, and he is cultivating his skill. And good for him. Good for him. Something interesting that happened at the Oscars is that Frances McDormand won, which is a given. She's an amazing actress. But this guy stole her Academy Award, stole her Oscar, and then started videoing how he won the Oscar and like telling other people, hey, I won, and letting people take pictures with it. And he got caught immediately, of course, because he had live streamed it himself, Terry Bryant, and he is now facing a felony charge.
A felony?
Yeah. Of course.
Did he leave the property of the award?
I don't know if he left the property. However, he did take it. And he presented it as
how do they value these? Like, is there a monetary value? Like, you know, because they have something called, what is it called? Petty larcening, where it's like $50 and under. So is that like a grand theft?
I would assume that Academy Award is worth more than $1,000.
Yeah.
I just think if I put it online, how much would it be worth? And I would say,
you want to know a trip, man?
At least $1,001.
Yeah,
I would buy one.
I would. You want to know a trip? So right up the street of our infamous taco truck, there's actually a small privately owned business, like one owner, that has been making these awards for years. I heard that on the street near the taco truck. Now, whether it's true or not,
that's probably true. It's probably like a specific guy that does it, and it's just part of the history. And
so what that tells you is that this dude's putting heart and effort into these awards. You don't just grab one. And that actress put a lot of effort into the award too.
I mean, it's phenomenal. What more stands out to me is the fact that he live streamed it. And that's something we keep seeing nowadays is people going to jail because they're posting it on their Instagram. Live
streaming. It's crazy.
They're posting it on their Instagram.
Man, there should be like some internet etiquette now taught in high schools. Like, hey, don't do this live. Don't go into the woods where people committed suicide and show dead bodies. So that to that guy's mind at the time, he's having fun. But there's like so many serious implications of that. You know?
I don't know. I don't specifically agree with everyone's thought on Logan Paul. I don't agree with their thoughts. If you don't like it, don't watch it. You can be upset, but telling people this is wrong to watch is a form of censorship as well, which is fine. But what people do is they shame you into doing stuff, which is the same thing as bullying on either side. So when super rightists say you're immoral, they're bullying. And when super leftists say, well, you have to like this. You have to like transgender people, or you have to like Democratic candidates. That's also bullying.
What is a way we can, in a fair way, get our point across when we're discussing politics without shaming the other side? Because now that you bring that to light, I do see most of the political debates happening in my forum, which is Facebook feed. That's the only place where I get my politics. It's shaming back and forth, Sure. What is the solution to this without attacking the other side? The only way people are making their points now is by attacking the other side.
Yes.
How do we just make a point? Do they do that because it's more impactful?
People always love putting other people down rather than their ideas and articulating and debating those points. And that's something that needs to get done. We need to express, what are you saying? You're stupid, and dismissing someone doesn't help or change their mind. So have open, honest conversations. Speak the truth. I had a conversation with a young comedian last night, Anissa, who out of nowhere basically called Kim Kardashian a whore, and I just didn't think that was appropriate. Why is Kim Kardashian a whore? Have a reason. And if you're saying it's because she doesn't live up to my moral values, then don't call yourself open-minded. Say everyone who thinks like me is right. That's how it works. And I say this, if you spoke to different shapes and a triangle spoke, it would obviously tell you that the triangle is the best shape ever. Right. It would say everything should be a triangle. Triangles fit perfectly and have right angles, and they're great. They have obtuse angles, and they're just everything that needs to be. And then you would speak to a square, and a square would say, yeah, but a triangle can't do what I do. I hold so much more. I'm a square. We fit perfectly, and we are so organized and neat. And then a circle would say, but circles are the best. Everyone always thinks that they are the best. They never understand how someone else can be just as good, even if it's different, or at least have some good points.
That's a very good analogy. And it's so hard to see the world from outside our own eyes or outside our own lens and consider the other side. And a lot of it has to do with pride. Sometimes we're just arguing because we want to say that we are right, or we think that we are right, and we don't want to be proven otherwise. Yeah. And when we do that, when we argue with that motive, you're really not proving anything besides ignorance.
You know what's interesting? When this show started today, I thought like, hey, I was upset that our guest didn't come. I felt like we needed the girls to be here. And this turned out to be such a good conversation. I'm actually surprised that I was right. We needed the fucking girls here. The stupid fucking we were going to be talking about some good shit.
I felt that this is an incredible conversation. And I'm getting some nostalgia to when we started this show and we were in my apartment.
We definitely needed girls here.
Side
it would have
by
been
side.
so popping.
And what I like the most is being so close to you. And I feel comforted
I need to go.
by your proximity.
I'm the impenetrable Tehran Von Gosri. Find me online at I Am Tehran all across the board. And I'm with
Mr. George Corey, again, the ambassador of positive energy and refinement. Don't forget the Mr. And we are. I
don't even want to do the show.
Gentlemen.
Listen, we're gonna have words. We got rejected. Is this how you feel when I don't pick up the phone?
This is exactly how I feel. It's very cold.
We are
imperfect gentlemen.
Remember, nobody's perfect, but us. See you guys next week.